one thing, if a little green man pops out of me, I'm shooting first and asking questions later.
You are on the verge of destroying the entire universe.
Welcome to the Strange Podcast with Sam and Logan.
You're listening to the Strange Podcast, Episode 5. Don't lose your Aswang in the Malta Catacombs. And as always, I'm Logan Marks.
And I'm Sam Baxter. Today is November 5th, 2017. Hope everyone had a good Halloween last week. If you like what you hear from us, you can listen to us more on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcast from. If you want to share a story with us or have any ideas for future episodes, you're welcome to visit the www.thestrangepodcast.com and leave us a story. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about the Malta Catacombs and the Filipino creature, the Aswang. So how's your week going?
Week's been kind of busy. Spent a lot of time just driving around, trying to figure out what I want to do for this week's show. Watched a movie called The Descent that kind of helped me, but more into that later. How about you? What have you been up to?
Not much. Where did we go? I went to my sister's house, and then we just kind of hang out with the kids, and baked cookies, and just pretty much lay around the house and watch TV. Watched the Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons. That was a good movie.
You remember
that? That was a good movie. That was a family-friendly movie.
I know, it was really good. Like, it was the first time the kids saw it, and they were like, "What's this? This looks stupid." And I was like, "Oh, you just watch it. I think you'll like it." And then, like, through the whole thing, they're like, "Oh my god!" They loved it. I was like, "That was really good." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
Really? So kids nowadays actually like that movie?
Yeah, they liked it.
Wow,
so yeah,
impressive. I remember liking it as a kid, but I feel like you would be dated now. I mean, I've seen the picture of Harry on the front. He looks just like a gorilla suit. You know? It looks like a man in a gorilla suit, and it looks like really bad. And I've seen
it didn't age very well, but
no,
it has a lot of character. So I think, and then you have John Lithgow.
John Lithgow was good. You can't go wrong with Lithgow.
Yeah, I always liked anything he was pretty much in.
Did you ever see him like in the movie Ricochet with Denzel Washington?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that one.
He was the bad guy. Man, that guy, from being such a family-friendly man, like in Harry and the Hendersons, or in that Third Rock from the Sun, how he was just real goofy and crazy. You see him like in Ricochet, certain movies, he can be a just total asshole.
Yeah, well, he was in that Dexter too, remember?
That's right.
He was a bad guy on there. He could play anything.
Yeah, man, that guy's, and then he's in that new movie now with that shitty ass movie with Will Ferrell,
Daddy's Home.
Yeah,
it was all right. It was very funny though.
Yeah, but yeah, John Lithgow, that guy is pretty. He can play anything, and it's just weird because he could just play such a nice, bumbling kind of foolish guy, or soft and sweet, and then you got him playing these hard ass, like I said, just mean, like Dexter.
I know, he could just pull out evil like right out of his pants and just start.
But then you got people like Mark Wahlberg, who plays like the same character in every movie, and yet he keeps getting parts, and I don't get that.
Yeah, that same whiny voice.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to kick your ass. Oh, I'm sorry, I love you. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm scared. It's like, it's the same emotion in each one. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, how's he getting paid and I'm not? Damn it.
Well, he's Marky Mark.
Yeah, he's in the funky. Well, I think I heard if you call him that, he gets pissed off. He doesn't want to be associated with the Funky Bunch anymore.
Yeah, like calm down, Marky Mark.
He's like Will Smith. Don't call me DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince anymore. You're holding my career back. I'm Will Smith. This is like almost the same thing. I'm not Marky Mark anymore in the Funky Bunch. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, that's what made him. I remember he did a few albums and he rapped on a few songs, but whatever, that guy's getting paid. I can't hate.
Yeah, he's getting paid. So, yeah. What do you got coming? I heard we're gonna do some scary catacomb stuff.
Well, yeah, I was watching that movie, The Descent. I don't know if you ever saw that one with those chicks that go underground.
That was the first movie me and my wife went to go see together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I'm hitting a pretty nice spot for you, huh?
Yeah, it was a. So yeah,
am I getting you in the romantic mood right now? Please don't.
You get me excited,
buddy. It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot. I need a fan over here. Get a fan on me. Yeah, that movie. Remember that? How they would just under those caves. Those what was it, like an underground cave or something?
Yeah, they're like spelunking or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, and they just kept getting deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden they get lost. They can't find their way out. Can you imagine how scary that would be, just to be under a spot? Like, even like in France, those catacombs.
Like, I don't know, when we go like under the house, sometimes you have to go like fix pipes underneath the house.
Yeah,
I can't stand doing that stuff.
Yeah, and then some people do that for fun. Can you imagine that shit?
I don't know who does that for fun, but
Well, like in those movies, those women, they were all doing it. That was their entertainment, remember?
yeah, I don't know.
There's people that do that shit, man.
What's wrong with them?
I know there's people that go on and investigate like all these underground like caves and underwater, have to go like scuba diving and just locate areas, under the earth. I mean, they're looking for, minerals and ore and stuff that could be worth money. I mean,
Yeah, I guess.
I know.
I
I
go to the
dig
earth
it.
and look for a place to die.
I know, huh? Well, this looks like a good place. I don't have to
Yeah, there you go.
pay
I'll just
for
lay right here.
I don't have to pay for a funeral, no cremation. I'll just let these creatures eat me. These creatures look hungry. I'm full of flesh and meat. Hey, yeah. It's so. Watching that movie, I was looking into, and I had heard about these missing children that kind of happened in Malta, and so let me give you a little background of Malta.
Okay.
Malta's a chain of islands in the middle of the Mediterranean, and it's about 50 miles south of Italy. So if anybody knows on a map where Italy's at, like Sicily, it's 50 miles south of there. So it's not...
It's like Australia? No, just...
No. Yeah, I know. You're way off. It's right next to Hawaii.
Sorry, I had my flat earther map. Let me get the real one.
I know. The flat Earth says it's right next to Russia. Okay, right under Italy, like I said. So it's east of Tunisia, and about 207 miles north of Libya.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just these are islands that are in the water, obviously islands, and they cover 122 square miles. And there's only about 450,000 people that live on these islands.
Well, that's not very much.
No, it's not. And so these islands are filled with mass underground tunnels. So just a little small brief history of these islands. I guess because where they were located, they were always fought for, and ownership of them have been changed throughout the years, from the Phoenicians to the Carthaginians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Byzantine, the Arabs, the Normans, the Sicilians, the Spanish, the Knights of St. John, the French, and the Brits.
Oh, wow.
They've all ruled these islands at one point. So it's always been like just a place where ships could, like a in-between place. So just land, to own.
Just a place for them to port.
Yeah, probably, get laid and stuff there too. just a little bit of everything there, right? So basically, back early in 1902, in the town of Paola, there were a couple of construction workers digging a well on the main street, and when they were digging the well, they accidentally one of them fell into a cavern. Mm-hmm. And when he fell in there, it led to a discovery of an underground complex of chambers and tunnels that went about 3 levels deep.
Oh, crap.
So just think of first floor, second floor, third floor. And then near the inside of these chambers, they found about 7,000 skeletal remains. And these were in bad shape because of all the dampness. Mm-hmm. And they had only about 6 of them survived all that dampness out of 7,000. All the rest were just damaged. And these skulls appeared to be like elongated and abnormal. They weren't like normal, just human.
So they didn't look like human skulls?
No, they were like longer or just abnormally weird. And National Geographic, in the magazine in 1920, they had a quote saying, "From an examination of the skeletons of the polished Stone Age, it appears that the early inhabitants of Malta were a race of long-skulled people of lower medium height, akin to the early people of Egypt, who spread westward along the north coast of Africa, whence some went to Malta and Sicily, and others to Sardinia and Spain." Unquote. Mm. Up until 1985, the skulls were on display in the Archaeological Museum in Valletta in Malta. And then they were removed in 1985, and they've never been seen again. Neither have the 7,000 skeletons. They're all gone.
So they didn't put them. They didn't go to another museum or anything like that?
Nope, gone. Nobody knows where they are at.
Huh.
So, yeah, that's a little bit weird. I thought that was a little bit weird because usually something like that would be like the Ark of the Covenant. That would be usually
yeah,
that
you think that'd be
away.
An important find?
Yeah, but whatever was important about them or odd about them, nobody wanted anyone else to really see or enjoy them. The entrance where those construction guys were working is named after the main street that it was found on, which is called the Hypogean of Hal Seflieni. Mm-hmm. So a hypogean means underground, from the Greek word of hippo, which means under, and Gaia, which is Mother Earth or Goddess of Earth.
Okay.
So it usually refers to an underground tomb or temple. So in the 3 levels of the catacombs, it is rumored that near the floor of the last chamber within the 3rd and last sublevel of the catacombs, there are a few so-called like burial chambers. So these chambers are only so tall. They're really small, really short. You can't walk through them. So the person has to get on their knees and crawl through them.
Oh, wow.
They're just long enough, and they're just big enough for one person to get through at a time. So there's also been rumors that one of these chambers does not end, and it continues deeper into the unexplored caverns. And this cavern is what was believed to be referred to in a National Geographic magazine publication in 1940. The National Geographic talked about was that in 1937, a group of 30 kids and 2 teachers and a tour guide went into the Hypogean for a tour.
To go look for One-Eyed Willie? And
I know. Chester Copperpot. Yeah. So they were supposed to descend into the catacombs using a rope that was tied to the Hypogean. The catacombs branched out to a very complex maze. So it's said that the kids and the teachers made a wrong turn in the maze, and it just basically sealed their fate where they were lost forever. What's also weird is some of the oldest houses there have like rooms that lead down into the catacombs, like straight from like a door in the house. It was said that like people who live in those houses, like they could hear like kids wailing for like up to 2 weeks after that. After they disappeared, they could hear the kids wailing in the catacombs.
So they had 30 kids down there, and nobody went down there to go look for them.
They did, but they said it was just impossible. So in comes this lady, Lois Jessup. So she went down to the past the Hypogean twice, just like the kids. But before the disappearance of the kids, this English woman named Lois Jessup, she went down the same chamber that the kids had went down. This woman was just a secretary at the British Embassy in Malta. In her first visit in the catacombs, she convinced the tour guide to allow her to investigate the burial chambers next to the floor in the 3rd sub-basement. So that's supposed to be where the tour ended. That's where he was supposed to be done. Like, hey, that's it, tour's over. But she knew that there was still a little bit more down there. She's like, let me go down. And he was acting all weird about it, like, no, I can't. He seemed to kind of know something about it, but he's like, no. So eventually he finally gave in and let her explore. I don't know how. Perhaps, a kiss, blowjob, something. But she got past him. So he allowed it. So this was, way back in 1937. So she had to use a candle, right? No flashlights. She didn't have anything else. She just had a candle. So she went down through there, and she tied herself to the other people in her group. They were tied like on a rope from their satchels, one by one. And like I said, only one person go through at a time. So she crawled through, and her friends were behind. She eventually emerged into a large cavern where she found herself on a ledge overlooking a deep and possibly bottomless chasm.
Oh, shit.
And on the other side of the chasm was another ledge that appeared to lead to a doorway or a tunnel on the far wall.
Oh, damn. That's Indiana Jones shit right there.
Exactly, man. This is like I said, Ark of the Covenant. So she claims that out of the lower tunnel of the far side of the chasm, she saw emerging in a single file were several large humanoid creatures were completely covered with hair from head to foot. So she was just watching them, and they eventually noticed her. They raised their arm in her direction, and all of a sudden, like, they were all pointing at her, and all of a sudden, like, some wind blew, and it knocked out her candle.
Oh, shit.
So then she was just in complete darkness, and she was freaking out. She felt like something, like, brushed by her that was kind of, like, clammy and wet. But it wasn't, like, she doesn't know what the fuck it was, like some type of animal or creature. And then just as that was all that was happening, the next person in her group emerged, finally made it to where she was at, and she told him, we gotta get the fuck out of here. They're like, hey, we just got here, let's just keep going. She's like,
I just got here for the party, man, what's up?
Yeah, I know, party on. And so she's like, no, we gotta get the fuck out of here. They're just kind of pleading with her. She's like, let's go. Finally, they're like, all right. So they finally went back, and they met back with the guide, and the guide was looking at them like, yeah, now you know. They didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He just gave her a look like, yeah, now you know why they want to let you go. So but that happened, and then the next week, the kids disappeared with that guide.
Oh, so maybe he's like going there, like giving them to those hairy animals so they can like feed them.
but he disappeared as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. So a week later, the class went through with the teachers, the kids, the 30 kids, and him, because he was the guide. He was gone. He disappeared too. So then she went back on another visit, and there was a new guide there, and she asked about the old guide, and the new guide denied ever saying that the old guide worked there. It's like, no, I've always been here.
What?
And she's like, no, this other guy used to work. He's like, no, you're mistaken, heavily mistaken, woman.
It's like, I've been here for 30 years.
Yeah, I'm 22 years old, but I've been here for 35 years.
So my last day when I retire, I just got to make it through the day without getting shot.
Yeah, without being eaten. So he wouldn't divulge any information. So she went and found some other means and talked to other people, and she learned that was the tunnel that he was at was a tunnel that the one that she had went through and where the kids had disappeared, and the guide. They say that the cave, and like what you asked earlier about why nobody went down and saved them or looked for them, is that the government was saying that the cave had the tunnel had caved in after they went through. It collapsed. Yeah. So search parties never found them. So the official word is that the caves collapsed. That's it.
But they could still hear the kids, right? Like after that,
people could. Yeah, well, see, yeah. I mean, the way out was allegedly had collapsed, so they couldn't. But people could hear them wailing and moaning and crying for like weeks after they had been down there. So the government said the caves collapsed, but she also found that the rope that they were using to get down there. The one that they were using that was attached to the hypogeum, so they could find their way back, just like she had with her mates.
Yeah,
the rope was severed, so somebody cut the rope, and they would not, and then they lost their way. And
so they couldn't find their way back.
No, they basically cut their only way back to finding freedom, and it was like a clean cut. It wasn't like rocks had cut it. It was like somebody had cleanly cut it.
Took like a knife and just
something, scissors, something. So she actually published her account in the Journal of Borderland Research. So it's rumored that these catacombs stretch for miles, like maybe even reaching Rome.
So somebody built it. What did they use them for?
Right now, they're used like bomb shelters for the people of the island. They store like rations, supplies down there, stuff that they don't want to have above ground. They use them for that. But the original ones, they think that there was like races that were the first races using radiocarbon dating of human remains and pottery. This dates back to 5500 and 2500 BC. And there's really no media outlets of these catacombs. It's like nobody wants to broadcast these. Nobody wants these to have any attention. I mean, these are older than the pyramids. It's the oldest dated structure found on Earth so far.
Wow.
And they think like maybe priests, Jesuits, whoever could have built these and used them for whatever, living, sacrificing. They're not sure, but these catacombs are so vast and so big, and there's so many things down there. It's like just a maze full of ways to go, that there's like no way of, if they do have them mapped out, they're not sharing. Whoever the government there, whoever is interested, whatever type of government has their hands into it, they're not explaining, they're not giving any information out, and they seal off like certain parts that are supposed to be leading further down. Obviously they probably don't want people who are enthusiasts to go down there and try and get lost themselves, right? That could be a problem. But also it's like they don't want anyone else to know about any of this. It's so bizarre and so weird.
Yeah, because I've heard of the catacombs of Paris.
Exactly. Those are well known. They make movies about them. They make scary movies about them. They've never made anything about this.
But then like the ones in Paris I've never heard of them finding like bodies that are like not human.
The Paris ones were always used for like burials of other people. Remember those were like other, like instead of running out of places for cemeteries, they were burying them underground.
Yeah, they would put them underground, and like that's where it
exactly. And this one is basically like the oldest, type of statues and anything built in the world that they have on date. So like I said, this predates pyramids and Stonehenge, which are supposed to be really old. And nobody really knows who did it, why, or what, if there's any creatures dwelling down there. I don't know if there could be some type of reptoids, I mean, we could also digress into that. The reptoids live underground, and they used to rule the earth.
Going to the David Icke theories.
We could go to David Icke. But again, that could take hours.
The Hollow Earth theory. And
yeah, there's also the Hollow Earth theory. I mean, what if this does lead down there to those places that we don't know anything about?
Have Hillary Clinton down there with her lizard tongue.
Yeah. I mean, all this is very like the way everything's hidden and the way it's so like taboo to talk about it or to for anybody to go down there. It seems like there's protecting something.
So has there been more recent searches? You think you'd be able to go down there and be able to find something with the new technology we have now?
Again, if I wouldn't doubt that some governments have invested highly into this. But again, if they did, maybe the people of Malta don't allow it. Maybe they don't want anyone down there. Maybe they know themselves what are down there and they don't want anyone else to know. What if it's some type of race that's giving them the secret to happiness and they don't want anyone else to have it? They want us all to be fucking mean and pissed. But it's just an interesting find. Doesn't really make sense.
Do you have any other stories of people going down there?
No, like I said, I found like a bunch of videos of people going down there on video, and investigating. But I don't think that they want to go too deep because, like I said, you can get lost, and if you get lost, you can never be found.
Yeah, that would suck. That would, man. Just the idea of just like being in the dark and.
I mean, can you imagine though? Like, say you and I go down there, we have tons of flashlights, we take tons of food. And we're like, all right, let's connect this rope, this Teflon rope or something that's really strong, and we're connected to the outside world, and it can go for like 5 miles, let's say. And as we're going down there, all of a sudden we start making our way back, and it's cut. Somebody fucking ripped it, and we're stuck. Can you imagine that shit?
Dude, that would be scary. Just
you're underground, you have no radio communication. I mean, what would we do? Fucking eat our feet? I mean,
we got food, so maybe.
I know, right? But I mean,
little breadcrumbs everywhere.
What if we're being hunted down? I mean. Just like the movie the Descent, remember?
So, like, is there anything more about those creatures that were down there?
Not that I could really find. I mean, they just think that there's another race down there. They also thought that there giants live down there as well. Giants used to live on the island, and they knew that the humans were going to start overtaking the lands, so they went down below.
They went underground, huh?
They went underground, and they're supposed to be like 15 feet tall. But this also sounds close to the reptoid theory. The reptoid theory is that the reptoids ran the earth, and at one point they had to go underground because there was supposed to be a ball of fire that's going to be covering the earth. Mm-hmm. So they had to go underground to evade it. For some reason, they never came back up. Maybe it was not hospitable. Maybe everything was burned to a cinder. Who knows? But maybe when it came back, they were already established underground, and they just said, "Fuck it, we'll just stay here and just eat, fungus and fucking mushrooms, and we'll get high and we'll party like it's 1999." And
that kind of reminds me of the movie The Time Machine.
Oh yeah,
the creatures that lived underground. And
the first one.
The original one.
Yeah, that was a good one. The Eloi and what was that other race called?
Yeah, the Morlocks. Yeah,
Morlocks. The Eloi and the Morlocks.
That's what kind of reminds you of.
Yeah. Remember they lived underground and they would just. They could only see darkness. Well, remember they came out. Remember the movie? They would come out and they would take. No, the humans would go. They'd have the siren and the humans would go to them.
Yeah.
Remember they were like cattle.
They would like eat them.
Yeah, basically, the humans would come to them. They would be like in a trance and they'd have to go down there. They'd go to their doors and whoever went in there, they were basically their food.
I know it's a way to do it, huh?
Hey, that's pretty smart. Fucking, they don't gotta work. The food comes to you. Yeah, I mean, who's to complain about that? Fuck, you can be lazy and fucking just chill all day. I'm hungry. Just turn on the siren. Let's get some food to come in here. Hopefully, it'll be something tasty. So that's what I had. Is so what do you got about your Aswang?
The Aswang.
Aswang. Okay.
And the Aswang is it's a folklore from the Filipino people, and it's also known as the tik tik, the bayat, the wak wak, the sock, and the cling cling. So they kind of like to keep the little.
They like to double the words.
Running phrases.
The wak wak, the sing, the fuck, and what was the other one? Said something like that.
I know. Yeah, they have a bunch of weird names.
Okay.
And basically, it's a shape shifting monster.
Wait, what
with the traits?
Do we know why they have so many different names? for the same thing?
The reason it has a lot of names, supposedly the same creature, but like it's just so many different descriptions of this creature, and like all over the Philippines, different regions have different names for it. So like I was saying, it's a shape-shifting monster with the traits of a vampire, a ghoul, and a witch. And it's not easy to describe its appearance and the nature of it is because there's such a wide variety of descriptions of the creature.
Interesting.
And this one creature has been blamed for all kinds of supernatural occurrences. Like people believe that since the Aswang is a shapeshifter, it's been known to be like masquerade as their neighbors, or just living regular, quiet, exclusive lives during the day, but they transform at night into animals. They'll transform into cats, birds, wild boars. But most often, like it's usually like dogs.
Fucking dogs.
Yeah. Well, because I guess the island's kind of rampant of wild dogs.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the parents, they're like, they scare their kids. They'll tell them, "Oh, the Aswang's out there."
Gotcha.
So like when the kids are walking
out there,
home, yeah,
you
you
go
better
outside.
get home
It's gonna get you.
Yeah, you better get home before it gets dark. And so the
Yeah.
kids are out there and they still past the dark because all these crazy dogs run all over the place and they freak out.
Sure.
So the best time to
Smart.
confront, yeah.
Smart.
So yeah, so like they say the best time if you want to kill one is like during the day because it doesn't have any supernatural powers, because it'll just be like a normal person.
So how can you tell it apart from a real human?
Some say like if you look into the eyes of it, your reflection will be upside down.
Your reflection looking at its eyes will be upside down?
Yeah, so like if you look into its eyes, you'll see the reflection of you in its eyes, but the reflection will be upside down.
This is even if it's in human form, that's how you tell?
That's how they say they can tell.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never seen myself in anybody's reflection. Okay.
So the creature is a flesh eater and will prey on unborn fetuses and little children. Their favorite parts being the liver and the hearts, because that's the best, tastiest parts of children, I guess.
Good to know.
In some versions of the story, the Aswang has a long proboscis, which is like a moth's tongue. So it can suck out the unborn child from the mother's womb. So one of the stories that I've had is like from the 60s. It was a young couple was expecting a baby, and they asked this old woman who had been like well known in the village to be their midwife.
Okay.
So the old woman, she agrees, and she'd come over and she'd help the expectant mother. She'd give her medicine. She'd perform blessings and give advice. And after a month or so, the baby was about to be due, and the couple had grown to trust the old woman. So on the day of the baby's birth, the midwife arrived and began preparing for the child to come. As she went about her business, she
fucking preparing to eat.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The expectant father noticed that there was something strange about her.
Strange.
Something didn't seem right. He said when he looked her in the eyes, that her eyes were dilated and they were like almost completely black. And
Fuck.
she moved around, but she was kind of gliding, kind of floating. It just seemed like she was more because before she had like a little limp.
So this bitch was happy to eat. She was fucking on cloud 9.
She was ready to go. Yeah.
Damn.
So she but he brushes it off.
Yeah.
Because he was
Why should I question something weird, huh?
Yeah, well, he figured he was nervous because he's just gonna be a father.
Okay.
So he's like, maybe it's just I'm nervous. I'll just I've trusted this lady. She's been coming over for a while. So he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go with it. As the baby's getting closer to being born, the midwife told the young husband he would need to leave the room. So he needs to go in the hallway. And he felt the urge that he should stay, but the midwife persuaded him that he needed to leave so that she can, ensure that the birth that there's a safe birth.
Diabolical bitch.
So reluctantly, he leaves the room and waits in the hallway just outside the door. And then he can hear the screaming from the childbirth. Doing all that, he still fought the urge to go back into the room. So because he figured the midwife had taken good care of them from before, So he was like, logically, he thought he should trust her. So he waited. Soon after, he was waiting a little bit, and all of a sudden the room becomes like quiet. So he's like, oh man,
that's not good.
Maybe the baby's here. So he's getting nervous.
Yeah.
So he decides, I'm gonna go back into the room and see how everything's going. So he bursts into the room, and then he sees his wife and the baby doused in blood.
Oh shit!
and they both laying there lifeless on the bed, and he can't find the midwife anywhere. So he's looking around everywhere. How'd she get out? And he looks out the open window, and then sitting on a nearby tree, there's a crow with blood all over its beak.
That motherfucker.
It flies away and it's like cawing. When it caws, it sounds like a witch's laugh.
Oh, that bitch. She just get dealt with.
Can't get good help these days.
Fuck no. No. Was she on Union? Maybe. Fuck.
So the people from the Philippines, they believe in the Aswang like really deeply. So much so that there's many reports of like innocent people that get killed by their neighbors because they believe that they're an Aswang.
Damn, that's bad.
Yeah, like there's a report I found one in 2014. This 74-year-old man suffered like head injuries and lacerations to the body from a 31-year-old man because the 31-year-old man thought it was best that if he killed the old neighbor because he believed him to be an Aswang. So like, and when they asked him why, and he was like, basically because of all kinds of unexplained eerie experiences he had when the old man was there. And so the young man wanted to protect his family and his friends from being eaten by the old man. So he ended up killing the guy.
Jeez, man. So this is like a fucking free ticket to kill.
Well, no, he went to jail.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, it's like, man, I hope the cops don't believe that shit, because I mean, anybody could say that. There's an Aswang. Boom, bam.
They'll go to jail. And so in 2013 in Manila, the capital of the Philippines, there's a 17-year-old girl. She was hacked to death with a machete by her 41-year-old father, because she went. Well, basically,
Damn.
she needed to go take a shit, and over there they have outhouses. So she went out to the outhouse, and the father didn't realize that she had left the house. She's trying to get into the house, and the father's like, "What the hell? There's just somebody coming in the house." He thinks the daughter's like in the other room. So he goes out there with a machete and he opens the door and just starts hacking at her. He hacks her about 4 times before he realizes his mistakes. And then she was left in critical condition after that in the hospital.
Man, what a shitty situation.
In the Philippines, they deeply believe that this is true. It's kind of like the Llorona or like the boogeyman.
Is there like any real, honest, concrete evidence that that it exists?
No, most of them is just stories that people tell. It's like I said, it's like the boogeyman,
just legends and stuff.
Legends,
keep you in check.
But it's weird, like you talk to Filipino people about vampires and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, that's bullshit." But like you talk about the Aswang, and they're like, "Oh no, that's real."
Yeah,
that's real.
don't you dare make fun of it. Medicine, that's fake. Aswang, will.
X-rays. I don't believe in X-rays.
How dare you? How dare you try and
Tylenol?
No, I don't need penicillin. I'll get better. My E. coli will clear it by itself. Don't worry about it. I don't need any medical attention for that. Aswang, oh fuck! Kill everybody!
Let's go. Party's over. There's Aswangs here.
I know. So did it ever say like how this started? Like what like why this even was created?
From what I've read, a lot of it was like the Spaniards. Well, when the Spaniards took over the area, they would like
damn Spanish
create. They would create myths and stuff like that to kind of like scare the people.
Damn. They didn't.
And it just kind of built up after that. It's just like a lot of the
I know, I understand.
The stuff from like Mexico or from
even
America.
There's
all kinds of
there's still a lot of stuff out there.
So if you ever encounter one, like I was saying,
mm-hmm.
like you asked before, like you look at the reflection of the eyes. So if your reflection's upside down, so the best way to fend them off is it's a lot like a vampire. You can use garlic, religious artifacts, or religious weapons, prayer. If you pray, using religious verses, and usually that kind of supposed to scare them away. And they can also be killed by a whip made of stingray tail, which I thought was interesting.
Whip made of stingray tail?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And a safe places to be is like usually during the day or being like on holy land. So it's kind of like a vampire, but
So you gotta live in a church to be safe.
Basically, yeah.
And you gotta be like Castlevania, like Simon Belmont
with your stingray whip.
Yeah, I know. a whip, a whip of a wolf that was born of a jackal. Yeah. That's what you have to use to defeat.
I know.
There's only one place in the world to get it, and it's like 30 miles below Antarctica's surface. So you can actually protect yourself. Yet all these other people didn't use prayer. They just fucking started hacking at people.
I know that's the first thing they do.
Fuck, instead of praying, they just fucking kill.
Let me use the one thing that will get me sent to jail.
I know. I know. Well, I can pray and send them away, or I can just whack them up and fucking just go to jail for 20 years.
Like a lot of older people, they get blamed as being one because they're just kind of
they're just there.
They're just there, or something bad happens, when they're around, or they just it's kind of sad.
What? So as an old person, like, would you just go to a home? Would you just live in an old folks' home and just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna live on the street with my family anymore.
I know
my neighbor is gonna probably kill me.
Yeah, man.
That sucks, man.
Life's tough. Life's tough in the Philippines.
Damn, I guess, man. That creature does sound pretty bad. I mean, it sounds horrible. Like that, it just wants to eat babies. I mean, it's like somebody who likes eating veal all the time.
Veal, I know.
Except it's a creature.
I don't like them really young because they're tender, more tender.
I know. Would you like a T-bone? No, I only eat veal.
Only the good stuff for me.
Yeah. But man, that sounds pretty bad. I mean, I guess I would have thought more like. I mean, I understand that the Spaniards, scared them. That makes sense. They did that to a lot of countries that they, invaded. But I would feel like if they were actually finding things like that, like occurrences like that, that would be more freaky.
Yeah, but I mean, because like I said, like it doesn't have like one identity. Like it turns into so many different things. So people.
No, I'm saying like if the heart and the liver were like ripped out of babies, that would make me. That'd be more believable, right?
Yeah, but
like with chupacabra.
Yeah, but I mean,
they find the animals.
You can also, I don't know, somebody like gets killed out in the street, and some animals eat parts of the human being. I mean, they'll probably like blame it on the Aswang.
Well, I'm just saying, like with the chupacabra, all those animals that have like the two piercing puncture wounds in the neck or wherever in the body, and all the blood's gone. I'm not saying that somebody can't do that, but I mean that seems a little bit more like fuck. It's kind of fucked up. I'm just wondering if there's like a lot of cases any cases where children have had their hearts and liver like ripped out and eaten.
Well, like I said, that was just like their favorite parts.
I got you. Yeah,
doesn't mean they're not gonna discard the rest of it.
Yeah, intestines are not too bad today.
Not too bad. It's not a liver, but I'll eat it.
Yeah, give me some salt. Pass me the salt. Then I'll eat off. Then I'll eat
Put
that
some
liver.
barbecue sauce on that.
Yeah,
it'll taste fine. This is another Aswang encounter.
Ooh.
There was a young girl whose older sister had died.
Okay.
The older sister was many years older than her, and she lived like a good distance away. So the older sister was married and lived like in a different part of the country. And because of the age difference, she didn't really know her that well, but she wanted to go see her grave and visit like her sister's husband and the in-laws, just to kind of ask questions about
Yeah, get to know who her sister was.
Kind of get to know her from their answers and stuff. So she arrives early in the morning at her brother-in-law's house, where his parents and the daughter lived as well. They welcomed her with open arms, and they commented on how she looked so much like the older sister, and that she also looked a lot like the daughter, her sister's daughter.
This is gonna be trouble. I can feel it right now. Aswang written all over her. Sorry, go ahead.
She looked like the daughter so much that they could be twins. After that, they started commenting on her jewelry. And the girl was from like a wealthier part of the country. And when she went there to go visit, I mean, the way she was dressed, it was obvious that she wasn't from the area. And so they kept commenting on her jewelry, like, oh, like it's really nice stuff, and it to the point where it became uncomfortable to the girl. So she's just kind of tries to play it off, go on with it, and they end up taking her to the cemetery to go visit her sister's grave.
Okay. And
while they're at the graveyard, she noticed that the family's acting kind of strange, and especially like her sister's husband.
So her brother-in-law's
like,
acting all weird.
Yeah, so he kind of had like no emotions. It's as if he could care less if like the wife died.
Jeez.
So they're kind of sitting there waiting for her to finish her visit, whatever. But they're kind of being rude about it. As the day goes by, it gets a little bit more. She gets a little bit more uneasy and has like this weird vibe now because like they're just kind of acting strange. And she figures that maybe it's just like the different culture. Maybe this is just the way the culture is over here.
Okay.
So later that night, they go to bed. They go to sleep, and so the niece and her sleep in the same room. And she was gonna sleep on the bed, and she was gonna they were gonna have the niece sleep on the floor. So they get all that situated, and it turns night, and they're ready to go to bed. But before they go to bed, the niece is like, "Hey, I really like your jewelry. Is there any chance that I can just kind of try it on and wear it?" And she's like, "Yeah, go ahead and try it on. Knock yourself out." So, and while she's doing that, she's like, "Hey, do you mind if I sleep on the floor instead? Because my back isn't that great, and I'd feel more comfortable."
Wait, the sister asked that, or the?
Oh. Yeah, the girl that came to visit, she wanted to sleep on the floor. So the niece just says, "Okay, I'll sleep on the bed. You can sleep on the floor," because the girl told her that she'd have a better night's sleep because she wants to sleep on something firm.
Okay.
So they trade and they go to bed, and then in the middle of the night, the girl wakes up and she can hear the sounds of like somebody struggling next to her on the bed, and in the darkness she can make out figures hovering over the bed, and she can hear muffled screaming and then ripping clothes, and all of a sudden she hears like flesh getting eaten and being torn up.
Oh shit!
And she's like laying on the floor like freaking out. And she's so scared that she can't move. She's just like sitting there paralyzed.
They changed positions.
Yeah. So now she's kind of watching it, and she's trying to figure out like who it is. She sees like intestines being pulled out, and they're taking stuff out of her belly and stuff.
So there's more than one person doing this?
Yeah. So there's a couple people. Looks like she kind of tries to find out what it is, and she looks through the figures, and she sees them, and it's her brother-in-law's parents. So they're eating their niece, thinking that it's the girl.
Yeah, the in-law's sister.
Yeah. So they finish up because they look a lot alike. So they finish up and they take off take off out of the room. And as soon as they close the door, she grabs all her stuff and she just jumps out the window and escapes.
I'm out, bitches.
I'm out.
So this is supposed to be like a true story that happened?
These are just stories that people have, that I found on
Gotcha.
online that people have told.
Wow. Man, fucking jokes on them, bitches. Fucking ate the wrong woman. And it wasn't even a good type of eating.
But yeah, that they consider the parents to be Aswang then.
Yeah, no shit. And it must be the son too, right?
Well, I don't know. The son just had that, like in the story, he just had, I think he was one of them. But
why was he like so cold? Why did he not give a shit?
I don't know. Maybe he was becoming one. Because from what I read, like some of them, like they take time to become one.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not just born that way.
Like you don't know the person, or like someone can be like taking over their bodies, or not taking over their bodies, but taking over their lives. Or they just kind of show up, or the parents might have been the Aswang since the beginning.
Yeah. Damn. Fucking lucky girl.
She pulled the old switcheroo on him.
Yeah. Yeah, the old switcheroo, huh? Fucking just eat her like fucking like it's spaghetti. Shit.
Like spaghetti.
I'm not really sticking around for that. Man, that sounds like I mean that lore. I mean stuff like that. I mean maybe next week I'll talk more like that other one you said, La Llorona. That sounds like a pretty good story as well.
Yeah, that one. It kind of reminds you a little bit of her. I mean, because it's from a Spanish descent.
Yeah,
it's been like it's a cultural thing that most Hispanics know about.
Yeah,
and
yeah, well, especially in Mexico.
They use it to scare their kids.
Exactly, to stay inside. Don't be outside at night. And if you do, there's a good chance we're not going to hear from you again.
And that's pretty much what I think the Aswang is, or the Aswang is. But like, I mean, people,
it's basically to keep you in line.
But it's just weird, crazy because like just people believe it so deeply, and It's something that's ingrained in them.
Like just as a legend or a folklore.
Yeah, to them it's like pure truth.
I mean that, but like you said, that's what's scary. Is like you said, the woman, the father hatcheting his daughter. I mean, the old man being just wiped out by the neighbor. I mean, what do you even do? I mean, they go to jail, but still, I mean, the person's gone. That's not even cool. I mean,
yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of alcohol is involved too.
Well, like I said, a lot of drugs, huh? But like I said, I mean, and I was hoping, like, I'm glad you said that they go to jail, because that would suck if the cops like, okay, you thought it was an Aswang, all right.
Oh yeah, like.
Innocent mistake,
He has like a little card that
I know.
Little get out of jail card.
I know. Don't worry, it's innocent. You believe what you thought, so you're free to go. That would be shitty if people were like killing and getting away with it.
But nope, they all go to jail.
Okay, that's good. Hooray for the cops. Fuck.
Good job, buddies. Good job.
I know. Go get another donut, please. Yeah. A lot of these folklores, man, they just. I mean, I feel like a lot of people, they really believe them, and I'd be interested to know like what countries believe in what things like hardcore like that. Like it seems like the Filipinos believe in that big time. I wonder if in Mexico they believe La Llorona a lot, or just like Bloody Mary. Here in the United States.
Yeah, Bloody Mary is one I want to try to look into more.
Yeah, I was thinking about looking into that too, because you always hear. I mean, just as a kid, I remember hearing like different things, like somebody did it, and it was always somebody's like brother that you never knew of. Their cousin.
Yeah, some cousin.
Yeah, so they got fucking mauled. It was always somebody getting fucked up, but you never knew them. You just heard about them. My cousin.
It was
knew somebody that did that.
Yeah.
So you don't question me. It's like. So then you're like, fuck, this shit's legit, I don't even.
It must be true. The guys, I don't even know who the guy is.
I know. My cousin's nephew's roommate.
He's not around
uncle.
anymore, so he must have died.
Yeah. And we take it for face value, I mean, like I said, we haven't even seen La Chupacabra. We don't know anything about that. I mean, we know. I'm sorry. We don't know any if there's any truth to that. You see all the people you interviewed in Puerto Rico and in Mexico, and they're pretty adamant that the thing's real.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no video of it. And then the few videos I have seen online, it looks like some type of. You ever see that video with that police cruisers like kind of following some type of dog that's running? It's like a hairless dog, and everyone's so sure that's a chupacabra, because there's no way that a dog would ever go hairless. It can never get some type of disease where it'd go lose its hair.
Yeah, that's usually what. Well, remember there was that lady a while ago that claimed that she had a chupacabra.
Did she?
Yeah, and it ended up being like a hairless skunk or something. I can't remember what it was. It was some like animal.
That I know. Or how about the people that said they've shot Bigfoot? Remember they had his body in a cooler.
Oh,
you remember that?
Yeah.
They all presented it, and it was all big news, and it was just a fucking hoax. It was just it was just like a gorilla suit or something. But everybody was eating that up,
Yeah.
All the news outlets and all these crypto podcasts and other shows were talking about it, and they were like, "Oh my god!" Now I'm not discounting and saying that is not true. I mean, because otherwise we wouldn't have a show like this where we could talk about stuff like this. But I mean, I'm not going to be telling you anybody that that they do exist or they don't, because I don't know. And there's certain people I know. I've talked to people who've seen things, and they're very adamant about it. Some people say they've seen UFOs.
Yeah, it's just people see things, and I think the stories are interesting. A lot of they're entertaining.
They're good to listen
For me,
to.
they're entertaining. I like to hear them.
Yes.
I like to kind of. It kind of gets your imagination running, and then kind of it's just fun to hear the stories and hear what people think and kind of put in your own 2 cents of what you think it could be.
Sure.
Even if you're skeptical about it, I mean, it's still fun to throw ideas of what it could be, or even try to. I like to find out, what more likely, what in reality it would be, not the supernatural, but like the real stuff, because I find that more interesting. Some people like the paranormal, but I like to know if it's actual something that's real or has some resemblance to a real story.
So have you ever experienced anything that was you thought you couldn't explain?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, I've been out in the woods and there's like crazy stuff that happen when I'm out there, and then you just kind of start having these ideas in your head, like, oh, maybe it's like the Bigfoot, or it's,
So you think you psyched yourself out?
Mostly just psych myself out if something like that does happen. But
Gotcha.
my imagination still runs wild, even though I know it's not true. I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna take the chance of it being something that's gonna.
Oh, so you don't believe it, but you're just not gonna fuck around and take the chance that it is true.
This is a big world. You never know what's gonna be out there. Like there's stuff that we don't even know existed until like a couple. Like there's like the giant squid. Nobody thought that was real.
I know that huge ass squid that washed up on shore.
Yeah, and all of a sudden there's like a huge giant squid, and they're like, oh, okay, so they are real. Like we don't know.
Yeah. It was always just a legend.
Yeah,
like sailors always talked about seeing them, back in the day, and it was just a sailor's tale.
Yeah, stuff like
And all of
Bigfoot.
a sudden-
I can see a Bigfoot maybe coming out. I would love it if someone pulled one out and said, okay, this is this one we found, and I would think that would be amazing. But it's still, I still think it's good to be skeptical about it, because like,
yeah, you can't believe everything.
you can't believe everything. But like, I'd like to have like something like that come out and
Just terrorize your house, huh? Just start beating on your doors.
at least it would just be interesting to see something like that. It's something new.
Yeah.
And people think it's real, and it all of a sudden it actually being real. I think that would be cool.
It could be cool, but it could also be scary. Like I said, I mean, would you really want to see Dogman? Would you really want to?
If it was
meet up
like
with him?
behind cages and we can like
No,
like
I'm
look at
talking
it, and
about,
he's in a
you're out in the
zoo.
forest. No, you're out in the forest and he's fucking hunting you. I mean, is that some shit you really want to know? Okay, Dogman, you had enough.
Calm down.
Go back. Go back to your cave. I win. Okay. Game over for you. You got the slingshot here. That hurt you. So just turn around and be gone. See, you're good. You're a good 8 feet. I'm a good 5'2". Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me, dog, man. Yeah, some of that stuff very scary. I think like you see on our website that I always want to believe this stuff. I find it very curious, and I don't think there's anything bad with it. I'm not gonna be like the Aswang, where I'm gonna kill people, my neighbor or anybody else. But like you said, Bigfoot, UFOs, things like that. I feel like this galaxy or this universe. We can't be the only ones here. We cannot. I'm sorry. I can't accept that. And whether we're already been visited or we are being visited now, I mean, that's up for debate. I mean, people, that's already been theories, or people have talked about that already. It just doesn't seem like we're the only ones on this world, in this universe. And
Yeah, it's just fun stuff to talk about.
And like you said, even in the forest, I mean, there's lots of land on this earth that has not been touched. There's so many places out there that you can hike, or you could go on a walk, and that you would be gone and nobody would hear you. I mean, you're just off the radar. I mean, there could be things living out there. That's what they want. There could even be other humans out there that just that stalk. That's how they get their shit. That's how they survive, is when dipshits who want to go out and fucking camp like 20 miles a day, go walking 20 miles a day. They're out there, and that's how they get their supplies. Is somebody comes through and they fucking jump their shit. I mean, it could be a person, it could be a creature. I mean, there's stories of both.
I'd rather not be out there at all.
Exactly. I know. Yeah, I'm not trying to find out on my own. You people want to tell me about it? You tell us about it. Go to our website, and you can let us know your stories. We'd be glad to hear them. We'd love to hear them. Again, we're not going to be pessimistic. We'd like to hear anything you have to say.
That sounds good. So we're coming to an end here, so it's time to say goodbye.
Well, everybody, have a good one, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
So thanks for listening to The Strange Podcast, a show with no advertisements, but as soon as we get offered money, we will sell out as soon as possible. If you like our show, please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or whatever you're listening from, and give us a good rating and a nice comment, because that helps us out. If you want to share a story with us or any ideas for future episodes, you're welcome to visit www.thestrangepodcast.com and leave us a message. We're looking forward to hearing from you.
See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
So have a good morning, good evening, or night, and we'll see you next week. Until then, stay strange.